was about 12 or 13 years old, and I worked on a farm because my dad was a farmer, and he expected us boys to get out there and help him. And we were glad to do that because we got paid. It wasn't much, but we got paid. And at one point, I was pretty proud of myself because I was driving the tractor. This was simple. We had a simple implement, and one of the tires on the implement that I was pulling was flat. And my dad had not told us what to do, and so I was real proud. Drove the pickup, which we drove just a few miles back to the house, and reported to my dad that there's a flat on the implement. And I'll never forget, he looked at me kind of odd and said, "Well, why didn't you bring the tire so we could fix it?" I never dawned on me, but there was my awakening to think beyond just basic instructions. And that's what we're going to talk about today is two options. When you have a situation at work and you're facing something and you're not, and you bring a problem, don't bring a problem to your boss or to your supervisor without bringing at least two options as a possible solution. You see, a lot of people think that they're working for somebody else, and this is just dead time. I've got to work for this company and it's all dead time. Wow, I can't wait till I own my own business and I'm going to get out of this place working for somebody else. But actually, working for someone else is one of your most critical times to learn skills that you're going to learn and use later on as you're an owner of a company. I'm telling you, that's the way it works. When you're willing to work with your hands, God and your mind, God's going to give you wisdom in the midst of that work. There's work is one resource. The wisdom is a second level of resource, and that's what you need in order to own your own business. Another example is my dad was never one to stop. He always found a solution for whatever's going wrong. I can remember a time that we got stuck or something, we needed to pull something, and we didn't have a chain. We didn't have anything to pull the second vehicle. Didn't stop Dad. We had what's called baling wire. This is wire that was used, not used much anymore, but back then we used wire to tie bales together. And we have lots of this wire. We proceeded to weave these pieces of wire together, and we made our own chain. We made our own rope, and we pulled that vehicle out of the difficult situation. He was always thinking, how do you solve the problem? And that's one of the things I had the advantage of as a youngster even, to be not knowing it. I was just the typical kid, just like every other kid, thinking about sports and girls. I was not attuned to business. But I look back now and see how much I learned in business. And I will tell you that then my first real job after I graduated from college was a continuation of that. Think on your feet. Think of ahead. Think how you can solve the problems. You see, if you're a problem solver in a business, you're a high value commodity to that company. I don't care what level. You may not be the top dog. You may not be paid the most, but you can get there if you're always solving problems. I was working at heavy construction. I was actually supervisor of heavy construction, and I wasn't very old then. I started that as a supervisor and when I was 23 and 24 years old, and I didn't know anything about construction. I had a fast track to learn, and I worked for the big corporation. They gave me a paycheck, but I was responsible for people, their safety, and welders, and a big crane, and carpenters, and electricians, many things. No one laid this out for me. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying I developed again those skills, that ability to think ahead, to walk ahead and line out work that wasn't like a big chalkboard, it was just the next thing to do, but I was always several steps ahead of my crews. Now if you're out there working and you're given an assignment, think, look ahead. Look to see if you're going to nail nails and you're doing carpentry work and you're like for forming concrete, Don't wait till you get to the last nail and then report to your boss, hey, we're out of nails. Look ahead. When you have a couple hours ahead, say, hey, in a couple hours, if we keep using these nails up, we're going to be out of nails in a couple hours. I will tell you, I'm sitting here in front of my machine shop, and we get on people because we have a schedule to make, and we have jobs that are finishing. We have 30 to 40 people working, and we don't know when every job's going to finish. And so that worker in our own company right behind us, you see some parts. These are parts related to our business. But the worker that's making those parts is expected to a minimum of 2 hours before their job is finished to go report to the boss, report to the plant manager, and say, hey, in a couple hours, I'm going to be done with my job. I want to be thinking about my next job in advance. This is what we want them to do, and it's working a little bit. We're always improving. I want to be getting ready for my next job. So while I'm finishing up this job, I want to know what my next job is so I can be ready. I can know if we got all the tools there, if we got the materials there, we got the measuring devices we need, we have everything we need. There's certain things that you have to have in order to start the next job. That gives the plant managers time to adjust, or the plant manager time to make a difference, or maybe the programming's not done. These are computer programs. And so we have some time if someone gives us some notice. So the time that you're working for someone else is extremely valuable. You should never waste time. That is one commodity. You can waste a little bit of money here and there. You can waste a little bit of product here and there, but never, never, never waste time. Now, I don't mean that you can't take a vacation. I don't mean that you can't enjoy yourself. You can't go golfing. That's not wasting time. But when you're on the job, when you're thinking about it, and I will tell you, as a business owner, you're going to think about your business a lot of time during the weekend, a lot of time during the day. You're going to have to monitor that so that you don't be thinking about it when you're your spouse and concerned about it when you're with your kids. So but you're going to be thinking ahead, solving problems before they surface, thinking ahead of when's the next job, when are we going to do if that job fails. And so these are all things while you're working for someone that you should be gaining those skill sets. Oh my goodness, I know that your ability to own a business is not hinged upon the first day have this big business. The first day you have a business, if it's your first business, you've never owned a business. Now later on, maybe it's different. But your first business, you should start as small as you can and grow step by step by step and learn the business skills like what I'm talking about when you're not so many people depending on you. And if you've got 50 people waiting for you, do you know how much wasted time you have if you wait and have 50 people waiting for the next assignment? You can't do that. Hey, I hope this was helpful. We're here as a part of Inspiring Better Business. We want you to help you to start, grow, and excel in your business. So if you have a problem, and you see a problem coming up, come to your boss and say, listen, I should be looking at this, and here's a couple options to solve that. Example of that would be, let's say that there's a problem with the air compressor, and you see that there's a problem, and you've been watching this, so you come to the boss and you say, hey, listen, the air compressor looks like it's on its last leg. And if you're in the position to do this, and if you're the man responsible for that, you should go ahead and have done some kind of research that says, hey, here's what it might cost to repair it, and some kind of research to see, hey, we maybe need to replace that. Don't leave that to your boss all the time. Come to the boss, come to your managers with solutions to problems. I'll guarantee you, you'll climb the ladder faster than you can think. Hey, thanks for being part of this.